Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Port Connects podcast. Andrew Murata, host of the podcast. And obviously, you can see I'm in studio here with today's guest. Lots of things, Port Jervis, Miss Raap. Lots of things. Alum, board member, parent, community member, and more. Former teacher here. This is Raap, everyone.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
We're doing this. There's a lot of things in the air, Kara. You started a new job. You got vacation. Yeah. We're going to talk about her book. So lots to talk about.
Yeah, can't wait.
Kara, before we do that, I'm home today. I just want to make sure everyone heard it. I'd like to do a little commercial. So before we get started, Ms. The first one is, hey, everyone likes to eat. Everyone likes food. Port Jervis Schools, we're thrilled that we're doing this year. Really excited about it. Every student, I'll say it again, every enrolled student is entitled to meals at no charge. Monday, Thursday pickups, 209 campus and HBE. You could sign up via the Google form here. You do have to register to be involved. You can't just show up. You do have to register. So there's information there, and all of the links were emailed out. They're on our social media. They're on our website also. So families, please sign up. Again, you can't pass up.
Great.
I don't want to use it. It's being paid for, but there's no charge to the families. There's also adult, like breakfast or lunch, $250 for the adults. Again, and it can be meals throughout the whole week. I don't know if you saw Braden Ross the other day, a community here. It's happening throughout the summer. Rehearsals are on Tuesday, and this is being led by Ross, class of 22, a couple of years for us, awesome. Kara. So this is happening, Port Jervis. So we wanted to give these couple shout outs here before we got started. But here's our guest today, former Port Jervis teacher here, Raap. Kara, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. Happy summer.
Happy summer.
You're transitioning to a new job. You just became the principal at Berea.
Berea. Yes,
Berea. Berea Elementary, Valley Central Schools. How does it all feel? A couple busy weeks, the change. How do you feel?
It's been a very busy week. My first week at Berea this week. So I'm super excited. Central School District. And I am actually taking the seat of former Port Jervis principal, assistant principal, John Salamando, who is super loved. Their outgoing principal of Berea. They are so sad to see him go. He did a phenomenal job there. But I'm taking the helm at Berea, and it's a cute little school of about 450 students in Valley Central, and I'm super anxious to just get in there and do work.
Nice. Salamando's my paisan from Staten Island.
Yes. I spent some with him over the course of the last month before he kind of rode off into the sun. Away send off for him, all Star Trek related, but he had some words of wisdom for me. Left me a very detailed, approximately 10-page letter when I arrived on July 1st on my desk. It said, "Read this before doing anything," and it's super helpful. A lot of words of wisdom.
Wow. Yeah. What do they say in Star Trek? Go prosper.
Yeah, live long and prosper. I don't know. Yeah, you have to. I haven't doubled it, but it's in my thumb. So yeah.
A couple people jumped in the chat already. Hello, Harmony, Brady. You are watching the show live. Please jump in and say hello. Let us know where you're coming from, and certainly offer some congratulations to her. Kara, tough being principal. It's a hard. Going in, give me 2 or 3 things that you know that you want to accomplish that is kind of a goal and a vision in your first year at. It's not Berea, but Berea. Okay, Berea.
Yeah, so I think going to Berea, the research that I did really showed me that folks are really happy at Berea. Nice. Going online, look at the videos on the website. There you'll see videos of them doing the Polar Express, all kinds of things. Out a survey to the folks as soon as I got there, and that was the overarching pitch that I got, going through the interview process. Families, from the staff, we were really happy. Things were so in a situation like that, you don't want to go in like Miley Cyrus, like a wrecking ball. Like you're going in the first year, look, listen, and learn. And I really like that story in the beginning of, have you read Atomic Habits by James Clear? Okay. So you know what I'm talking about. Where I'm going. But
I love it.
The British cycling team. That's
yes.
Aggregated marginal gains. Like,
yes.
So for those of you who haven't read it, there's this story about the British cycling team, and they're like underperforming. And so somebody takes over management of the cycling team and just makes like these 1% little improvements. Like they make the seats more comfortable, more aerodynamic clothing, even research the type of pillows that were best to sleep on at night so they could get rest. Like just these little tweaks, but added up incrementally really resulted in them over the course of the next like 4 or 5 years, winning all these medals in the Tour de France. So I think just like small changes, but really just, it's like a listener that first year.
Yeah.
And making relationships, that about connections, about making relationships, the people.
Are you one of those people, Karen, like when you meet them, like you remember everything? Or is it like, oh my God, I got to write it down? And you kind of, principal, they tell you the name of their dog, and like, you see them and you're like, did they have a cat? What was that? Does that come easy to you?
So I think at Berea, it's going to be easier than where I was previously in Middletown at Presidential Park. So Presidential Park is the largest elementary school in the county, probably one of the largest in the state.
Wow,
I'm not sure.
I didn't know that.
We had roughly 1,500 students. And when I finished out my first year, there was a phys ed teacher upstairs who was retiring. And I had never met the guy. So, and I was an administrator in that building. It was just so huge.
Wow.
So that was really part of what brought me back to like a more setting, a smaller school. I was really looking for that like personalized approach. So when I met with the staff, I went on like the 17th to meet with Mr. Salamando and the staff. I was like, that's it. I was looking at the mailboxes. This is it. These are the teachers.
Yeah.
450 kids. So I think it will be a lot. And that is part of the reason, I was looking to make that change. I really wanted a more intimate, smaller setting.
Yeah. Get their attention and all of that. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck there.
Thanks.
Sounds like it's a great spot. You were here for many years, Karen. You taught
19.
All at HBE?
All at HBE, room 7, except the last one, I made the jump to AIS and I went across the hall.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's a special place where you
Yes.
can really get to know
Yes.
people. And tell me about your time at HBE, the place to be.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Berea reminds me a lot of HBE, and my time at HBE was super special.
Yeah.
HBE is just a special place.
It is.
And I kind of think of it as like I grew up there. It was actually the only school in the district that I had not attended as a student because I went to Sullivan.
Okay.
Well, before that, I went to ASK actually, K through 3rd. And we moved from Mohawk Street to Glass Street, and then Sullivan, which is no longer standing, then Port Jervis Middle School, and then the high school. So HBE was the only school I had not attended as a student. So, I went there, I started in the year 2000, had a great team of like veteran teachers. On the 5th grade, it was Claire Dillon, Robin Walsh, and Janet Barnett.
Oh, wow.
So right out of the gate, I had some veteran teachers really just showing me the ropes. And it was a phenomenal experience, something I'll cherish. Spent 19 years there. And now I've passed the torch because my son actually teaches phys ed there at HBE.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's cool.
What made you want to get into administration? I mean, you were there, you were really good. You brought so many great programs. You started the leadership day there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That character education program,
Incredible.
which was my internship for my admin program. When I went to Linda Karicki and I said, what can I do for, my admin project? She gave me this folder. She said, this is Geek, and it said character. I said, well, I love, I'm going to run it. So that we created the character education program, which has been sustainable because they're still doing HBE, including Leadership Day, which is like a large scale program which brings in community members to talk to students. But what made me want to get into administration? Well, I had done the coursework and I knew that I wanted to take a more active leadership role, but I was always afraid that going from the classroom into administration, I would lose that connection with kids. Because especially at HBE, like you're self-contained, you have the kids all day, you become a little family, you know, from June. And so that always really made me nervous. But as soon as I made that jump, I realized that it's actually even more so. The connections are even stronger. Time to about things that really matter to them. It's not just instructional and academic. And I actually made the move into administration right before the pandemic hit. So I started in Middletown in 2019, didn't even the first year, and then you know, virtual instruction. So it was like flying by the seat of my
pants. Did that
pants.
happen? I'm kind of blocked out.
Yeah, and it was really where I ended my first year. So it didn't matter. I didn't know what I was doing. That I was new. Nobody knew what I was doing. So it was great. Yeah.
Good timing for a global pandemic.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, you're there. You went to Middletown, and then again here. I keep wanting to say Berea.
Berea.
Yeah.
With Maria.
But yeah, and you learn there. So what's something that you know now as an administrator? You've been 5 years or so. What's something you know now that you didn't know when you started?
I've learned so much, but you know, if I were to talk to like a new administrator, you know, I think just know that you're going to please everybody all the time. There's no way you're not going to please like families and students and administrators. I think at the end of the day, just stick to your values and your idea. And something my principal at Middletown would say to me, Sue Short, she was in administration for her career spanned 39 years, and she just retired this year. She's awesome. She's a rock star. But something she would always say to me, and now it kind of plays like on a loop in my mind, she'd be like, Kara, hill you want to die on? And sometimes I'd be like, no, you're right, Sue. This is not the hill I want to die on. And sometimes I'd be like, yeah, no, this is the hill. Like, we're dying on this hill.
This is it.
You know, if it's something like you have to address or set a precedent or whatever. But I think that, you know, that's how you work with different bargaining units and collaborate with folks. Like, there's a lot of give and take. And a lot of times, like, you're doing more giving.
But you get those incremental gains, like you just
sure do.
It just you can move the dial a little bit here.
It's fluid. It's all about relationships.
Yeah. If it's too much, it's just it won't stick. It's just you can't do it. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Kara, you wear a lot of hats for Jervis. Like a lot of different things happening. Board of Education. Tell me about running for that position. You're the vice president now. Like that's a lot, and there's a lot of things happening here. Tell me about that role.
That was such super valuable experience. I loved that experience. I am the outgoing vice president because when the meeting takes place, there will be a new president and vice president sworn in.
Forgive me, sorry.
And as of today, I am, but you know, I just run for another term because I knew that I was going into this role, and it's all about finding that balance. But I was super proud of the work that we did. We have such a diverse board, and you have people from all kinds of different fields that are able to lend like a unique perspective to everything we do here in the district. Like you have Nancy Dunn, who was the school nurse for many years. You have Billiana on anything and all things like, you know, construction related. Paris food service, and brought that law enforcement perspective. It was just, you know, we really all brought different areas of expertise and we're really able to work together. If anything, it teaches you a really valuable lesson in like just collaboration and working together. And again, like what hill are you going to die on? But I think the most important thing we did during my time on the board, or what anybody says, the most important job of the Board of Education is who you put in that seat as the superintendent. And we did a great job in Dr. Bell. And, you know, we can see everything going on strict. And so, you know, my time ends in that role, but I've learned so much from it that I'm going to take with me, Berea, and I'm just, you know, working collaboratively. Education.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that time and service. Those are
pleasure.
very important chairs. But yeah, now that helps you as principal, because when decisions are made,
yeah.
you know kind of how and why. Right?
Oh, it's a different lens.
Yeah.
And there were just some really valuable conversations that take place behind the scenes in executive session, and you just really get to see the inner workings and the minutia of education.
Awesome. This is Kara Raap, friends. Again, Port Jervis graduate, Port Jervis Board of Education. And now she's added another thing. You're an author. Previously, I didn't know that of a child's book, but Kara is a new author in her second round. This is her leadership book, The Unlikely Leader. Check it out here in Amazon. It's out there.
Yeah.
You wrote it. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah. A lot of people talk about writing books. Kara, you did it. Tell me about that journey. Tell me about the idea to having it in your hands.
Yeah, this one was on for a really time. And it's faith-based. And, there are a lot of biblical truths in it, but could really be like practically applied to leadership. But really it's focused on turning setbacks into comebacks. And really there's a verse in the Bible that talks about how perseverance, leads to character, and character leads to hope. So like those setbacks that we overcome really do make us stronger, and you learn from them. And there's a part in the book where I talk about how there's actually more learning that occurs from making mistakes than not making them. There's like a study where it's about how like synapses actually fire in the brain when you make mistakes because you're learning from them. And what really makes an unlike leader is somebody coming to a leadership position from several setbacks or maybe even trauma, but they're able to kind of transfer that into working people, and that's what makes the most effective leaders.
Yeah. Kara, like you put on a shoe and you're like, oh yeah, or you taste something, you're like, oh my God. You open the book, right? And it just right away, I kind of like, oh, so I mentioned empathy, right? And you give all these qualities and you read Jesus and your faith, and then you get, however, there is one, the great leader, the best leader, and it allows the unlikely leader to become the most effective leader. Like you get to it, you give a bunch of examples, and then you say, bam, empathy. That's it. Simple. Tell me about that in terms of leadership, and why did you say it's the most important?
I think that empathy is the most important because that's what makes you relatable, a leader. And I reference in the book how in Middletown there was a PD where we had taken the ACEs survey, the adverse experiences. And it was done anonymously, but it's a survey that measures trauma, and it associates a score with it. So anything over like a 4, it has a lot of negative effects that are predicted, as far as like being successful. But there were several folks that scored like an 8, and it really made me realize, wow, people are walking around with significant trauma. This realization to me that, okay, when folks and you administrator, when they come into your office and close and there's a personal conversation that takes place, that's different than can I go early? Can I go to an appointment? And I share it, as I myself had overcome a lot of adversity and trauma, and it really made a difference. Is like the strength of my relationship, and I think had the biggest impact on my leadership.
Yeah, that ACEs test and the score is so powerful. Like
it's eye-opening. Yeah,
it's eye-opening, and I was the opposite, a 0, and I'm like, how could I not be successful? How could I not be helping more and doing more? My parents laid everything out. I had 0. I felt that I had 0. Like I gotta do more and give. Yeah, fortunate. But it drove me to want to do more because an easier path, a clearer path versus that adversity and struggle come back. They had to fight through to get
right.
where
And
you're
that's
at.
not to knock anybody that does have a 0, because
Sure.
you're super fortunate, and you're given a lot of those opportunities, but you took advantage of them and you ran with them. But it's just to say that, like, have a 4. There are folks who have much higher than that. Doesn't preclude you being in a really effective leadership role.
It's a powerful tool. I definitely recommend it. It, like you said, it opened your eyes there. I love this quote too. Brene Brown, I think she's incredible. I love her talks, her books, her stories. Loving ourselves through the process of owning our story is the bravest thing we'll ever do.
I love that.
You know, you own your story here. You take it with you. You share personal stories, personal things in here. Tell me about including that quote right here at the beginning of the book.
Yeah, I think, well, there is a chapter in there that I refer to as, and I can't remember if it's chapter 6, maybe. It's my testimony. Or dare. You own your truth and you dare to share it. And I think that is just a really powerful thing. And that's how are able to recognize pieces of your story in themselves and relate to you. And there's that empathy piece again. But I think the testimony is so important and powerful. And that kind of leads me into, I was earlier, chapter 6. Your greatest ministry will come out of your deepest pain. That's a quote by Rick Warren, author of The Purpose-Driven Life. So those hurts, those pain, that is the source of your and your greatest impact. But we're going to be doing a book study at my and what we're going to be doing to taking the ACEs test, and then figuring out your resilience score, and you to, I'm calling it map or mission action plan to share with others and figure out, using your own spiritual gifts, what your purpose is. So
that's happening this summer. Kara, how can people get information on that? And maybe we'll put this in the comments afterwards, or I think you can put a link in there.
Registration link.
Yeah, tell me about it. You have the dates here, and how can people sign up?
So this is a place at Grace Community Church. There's a Port Jervis campus directly across the street from the high school on 209. And it's just going to be 3 Monday evenings during the summer, July 29th, August 5th, and August 12th from 7 to 8:30.
Nice.
And we're going to get together and work on that mission action plan, where we're going to focus on some of those things in the book, like the ACEs score, finding our spiritual gifts, creating our testimony, and then figuring out how we can use our own spiritual gifts to impact other people.
I love it. This is Kara Raap, friends. Here's her book. It's out there. I know we talked about eventually getting it on Audible too. Is that, are you?
It's out there. It's
on
Audible.
It is on Audible.
I went to see your guy.
Read by the author.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is. Yeah. It was cool.
Yeah.
That was a cool experience.
That's cool. So now, and you heard it? Have you heard
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little weird listening to yourself, but that was a really cool experience. And that's really just the way of the future. I listened. I have a little bit of a commute now, so I listen to Audible audiobooks, and it was also, I thought, really important that the story be told by me, because the publisher that I was going through, they had somebody who would have read it, and I was like, that's when I talked to you. I was like, I really think this is my story, and I want to tell it.
You lived it. The listeners can. They can hear it. They feel it's your story. I think that's important too. Good for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks.
So Audible, Amazon, summertime. Again, what are we reading? How are we growing? Audible is a great way to, again, the timing. You're exercising, you're learning book or reading. So fantastic. Kara, I know you have some other things going on and play here. I know you wanted to share a little bit about that too. I want to make sure we get that in. You want to tell us about that?
Absolutely. So I'm making my directorial debut with the ACT Theater Group in Port Jervis. I did Miracle on 34th Street with them. So this is something really cool that I'm excited about. We are going to be doing, and I'll be directing, a community playwright showcase. You still have time if you want to be involved in this, but community members to write and submit their original plays, no more than 10 minutes. And we're asking for like black box, which is like very limited props, limited transitions, no more than 4 characters. and you're going to submit a blind copy and then another copy with your contact information. It's going to go to our panel. We'll do read alouds, and then we're going to choose approximately 10
Wow.
to bring to life on. Yeah.
The new voices here, Playwright Showcase. Wow.
Oh yeah, it's going to be cool.
I
It's
love
going to be
this
sometime
too.
in September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now that's 10th, right?
So yes, this was changed.
Got it.
Submissions are now due. It's been extended July 10th.
I like that.
So get it. You have time. Get it in by July 10th. Hopefully yours will be chosen.
Awesome. Richard, yeah, Kara treated for Kara.
Cheers.
Little afternoon coffee. Kara, this is great. You have the book, you have the principal job. Again, your boy got a job here teaching PE. Looking at all again that you are doing, you're actively doing, there's got to be some satisfaction of, wow, this feels good. Like my son is a teacher, the book, the play. I mean, tell me about that. It's got to feel good.
Oh, it definitely does. I mean, I feel blessed. I really do. I start every morning with just quiet time, my devotions, and like that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Like I feel very blessed to remember that, and I think it's in the book too, that if you have at some point gotten that phone call or that life-changing event, that can happen at any time. So it's not our circumstances that really, determines our, for me, it's where my faith is rooted, and it's being able to find the joy, in all circumstances. But I am very grateful for all of those things. My kids are thriving. I'm super excited about this new job. But, again, that's something, and this, it didn't come easily. It didn't happen overnight. So it was a lot of hard work, a lot of waiting, a lot of perseverance, and, it's finally coming to fruition.
To be chosen as principal is a big deal. It means a number of people have believed in you. So that is awesome there. Kara, we didn't really ask so much about your time when you went to school here. You taught, again, different roles here. The alumni connection here has been fantastic. Who are some people when you look to your time when you were here that kind of helped you, lent a hand, showed you that empathy, gave you that kind of maybe strong guidance that we might need from time to time? Who were some people that stood out when you look back?
Well, one real standout teacher for me is Mrs. Coleman at Sullivan Avenue.
Okay.
She was my 5th grade teacher. And, I remember back then there was an EA test. I think it was more of a test where you'd get a prompt, you would write an essay or a story, and I used to beg her for the writing prompts so I could write stories, and then she eventually had her own prompts, and she really inspired my love of writing in a lot of ways. And anybody who's ever had, I'll say our prepositions in alphabetical order. It is a superpower. Yes. If anybody out there, if you have Miss Coleman, I'll start it off: aboard, about, above, across, after, against, along, and at. We know them all, which really helps with sentence diagramming. And she was a blast.
She made you memorize those in order?
I then took that and also had my students memorize their prepositions, because there is no better way to diagram a sentence and be able to, it lends itself so nicely to understanding the grammar, I
love it. What grade was that again?
5th grade.
Mrs. Coleman, Sullivan Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
That is incredible. If someone's in the class, I want to see it in the chat there. Holy cow. Wow. Who else? Some of our legends that stand out to you.
Oh man, there were so many. I think there's another one that I talk about in my book. And I really didn't have a lot of experiences with her. It was probably condensed to 15 minutes in middle school. But it was Mrs. Hubbard. She was a guidance counselor.
Oh, wow.
And I had found myself in some trouble. Okay. So I had so back then, this was the 80s, and you may not understand this, but at the time, we girls, we had eyeliner that we used to light a lighter to melt it before we put it on. So anyway, I had a lighter in my pocketbook, and one of the science teachers said something about if you spray aerosol hairspray on it, it would make a flame a torch. So I was super curious, and of course I had aerosol hairspray in my purse too. It was the 80s. Yes, so I did that, and lo and behold, it just shot out. So I found myself in school suspension. So Mrs. Hubbard took me out, spoke minutes, but this was, and I talk about this in the book, this is how I know that just a short interaction can really have like a lifelong impact. And she just told me, you know, smart I was and how much potential I had. And I don't think it made an impact right then, but I filed it away and then like, you know, remembered that when I was older. And I think it really helped kind of form my opinion of myself. And then I saw her years later, actually just recently, maybe like 3 years ago at a funeral repast. And I didn't speak to her there, but I did get her contact information and I got in touch with her and I told her, I was like, I spoke to you for 15 minutes, but what you said had such an impact on me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. Did she remember it?
I don't know if she remembered it, but
probably,
she was very, you know, she was very touched by it.
Yeah.
And I was so happy that I had the opportunity to tell her and share that with her. Because as educators, we don't know the impact necessarily that
you never know
on students.
And I grew up in a very strict household. If I was wrong, I was used to get yelled at. And I had a similar experience one time. And I was bracing for the yelling, you know, just getting in trouble. I was the person who was in charge at the time just said, Andrew, that's not good. Do it again. I know you won't. And that was it.
And
so yeah, I was just like, and it goes back kind of, you can lead with strength and enforcing the rules doesn't have to be this iron hammer where you're screaming and yelling and he basically empowered me to not do it.
And still have respect.
Yeah. But so gentle.
Yeah.
And I wasn't used to it, you know, and that story kind of brought that back. Wow.
Live and learn. Live and learn.
Karen, this has been great. It's been fun. Friday afternoon after a holiday. People are tired, but I'm energized. I feel.
Me too. It could be the Dunkin' though.
It could be the Dunkin'. I think it's the positive vibe that are going on. Check out Karen's book online on Amazon as well as Audible. And again, that summer book study is happening 2-3 dates, end of July and August. Karen, anything else you wanted to share or talk about before we kind of get our weekend going here?
No, I really just wanted to, you know, tell Port Jervis that it's been such a pleasure serving on the board, and that I look forward to serving in any other capacity. My children still go here. I have a lot of my group here, and I want to thank you for having me on the podcast. Thank you for coming on. Karen, what's it feel like to you? What's it look like to you? Again, so much invested here, your children, the schools, all the work you look like with all these great things happening. What's it to see in the district?
In the
community?
District, the community.
It really is like a renaissance in so many ways. I mean, you don't have to look, you know, downtown just to see all the different businesses. You know, there are so many that I love to frequent. Even the ACT Theater Group, community theater, emerging once again. But in the district, it might not look too pretty when you drive by, but it's going to look phenomenal. Really, there's been a lot of planning. And we have state-of-the-art facilities, and to go with that, just a top-notch education for our kids.
Yeah, and they deserve it. We deserve it. It's a long time in the making, and like you said, you shared a lot of those incremental gains, those movements forward, year after year, and family, child, and we're in a great spot. So.
Oh yeah, we definitely are.
It's awesome. Cool. Well, thanks for. Enjoy your weekend.
Yes,
I know
you too. Thanks for having me.
Vacation coming up, right? Yeah.
So
get away a little bit?
We're just we go to the same place every year, and I just love it because we don't have to, you know, go through fly anywhere, and that'll be perfect. And actually, right when I leave here, I am going to cheer on my girls and the rest of the Port Jervis.
I've heard about this group.
Girls, they are in the final 3 for District 19.
Wow.
So they're playing Goshen in Montgomery tonight.
Wow.
And if they win that, they are in the championship against Warwick.
Oh my goodness, Port Jervis softball.
Yeah.
I love it. Those Raiders out there. I saw some pictures online. Got a lot of momentum.
They're doing great. They had the other night, no errors in the field. Our pitching was great. Like, It was awesome.
I love it. Thank you for all the people watching live here. Demono, Ms. Greaves, Mrs. Harkins. Yeah, Brady's around here. A lot of HBE people on here. Look at it. I love it.
Love my
Yeah, the Sullivans you mentioned earlier. Awesome. Well, enjoy that vacation. Certainly, time away, and get a chance to reflect. So,
Yeah.
but definitely want to support Kara again in her journey. The book, it's on Amazon, it's on Audible, and let's help get the word out about the book study. And
We'd love to have you.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Kara, and the work you're doing, and good luck at Berea Elementary.
Yeah, Berea.
My friend Solomando there, good work. And wow, it's so nice to hear you walking in setting.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
You deserve it.
Than't you.
Yeah,
Thank
you're very, yeah.
Thank
Cool.
you so much.
Cool. Kara Raap, everyone. We're going to sign off here on the podcast. Thank you for all the good things that are coming our way. Last little announcement again, one more shout out. Please sign up. There are meals at no charge for enrolled students, all enrolled students. That's every kid that lives in your household that is in school. Parents, if you have pre-K and kindergarten and you haven't registered them yet, get them registered ASAP, and then we could get them eligible for these meals as well. We're thrilled that we're doing this. So we are going to sign off here. Kara, last question. You kind of answered it in every question here. What does Port Pride mean to you?
Port Pride to me is just really, my roots, history, my family, blood relatives and not the family that I've acquired over my years here. So it means to me.
Awesome.
Go Port.
Can I get a go Port?
Go Port.
Kara Raap, everyone. Have a great weekend.